Hey everybody, it's Alana Yvonne from Truly Great Life, and I just wanted to share quickly a very tiny, short conversation. It hardly was a conversation even, with a friend this week that got me thinking, and we weren't able to go deeply into it at all. It was more a passing comment, but it got me thinking about the old self. So the comment from this person was that they were uncomfortable due to some trauma, going where they might see people that knew them when, right? Knew them from XYZ event or XYZ period of their life. And this idea of being judged for who you were way back when. And it was something that, I immediately, but they were, taking efforts to show up anyways. And this was something that I feel, my gut response is like, of course, you should do what you want and go where you want to go and not worry about who you're going to see there. But when we have this sense of old self that we haven't released from or let go of or worked through or healed from, then it's a really understandable and real, like a block or a stepping, something that can trip you up and prevent you from doing what you want to do or going to where you want to go. And generally speaking, that can come from a place of insecurity. It can come from a place of anxiety. It can come from a place of commingling memories of maybe a negative experience or a traumatic experience that you had with possible people or situations, and then bringing that forward into, oh my God, if I see this person, it brings me back to that place. Right. So I'm generalizing here, and I'm speaking very like high level as opposed to the specifics for this person. But I invite you to think about it from your own experience and see what is coming up for you just in these few minutes that I'm sharing this. This person didn't want to go or was concerned about going, went anyways, because that's part of the baby steps that we all get to do when we want to go a little bit out of our comfort zone. But I can speak for myself personally that I've definitely in the past let myself, or not even let myself, I was just in a place where I was very concerned about who might show up or who might be there. And, when you're not who you were in your past. So you can think of a reunion of people from your childhood or your teenagehood or your young adulthood or whatever. And if you are not that person anymore, and really who among us is the same person we were 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever years ago. And so that comes from like the fear of judgment or the fear of, well, yeah, probably just a lot of judgment. Or maybe if you weren't at your best, if you weren't your best self back then, and being reminded of that. But my point is, what I wanted to say to my friend, and what I'm saying here, is that on a cosmic level, if you will, we are born anew every friggin' day. And the old self, even from a minute ago, or a day ago, or a week ago, can possibly not be who we are today anyways. It depends on how you're defining yourself. What is it that's tripping you up from who you were back then, or how you behaved, or what you said, or what happened? And almost like, why are you bringing space for that behavior, reaction, maybe limiting belief, situation into your present day? And sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. There is something called the as if principle, where you act as if, even if you don't feel it. You can look that up. There is a book called, I think, the as if principle, or as if. And that can, explain from the positive psychology and the research side of this idea of, you feel the fear or you feel the nervousness but you act anyway. But the only way we get to do that is if we have a desire or a vision or a want, which I guess is similar to desire, right? For that event. Like if you want to go to that event and that desire is greater than the fear or greater than the concern or greater than the anxiety, then go. And one thing I learned, I was probably 16 or 17, and I read Dale Carnegie's, everyone knows the How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? And he also has one, I think the title is How to Stop Worrying and How to Start Living and Stop Worrying, or How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And I remember reading this, and one thing I took away from it, it's been a while, is like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Not to catastrophize and like blow it out of proportion, but blow it out of proportion. Like really, what's the worst that's going to happen? And you can even make it like super dramatic, and then your rational brain, you'll just be like, well, that's really unlikely to happen, okay? So for this person, maybe the worst thing that would happen is she sees someone that she knew way back when who comes up and is like, oh my God, you blah, 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 or you went through ABC, or you had blah, blah, and is totally referring to this experience and this, you know, where this person was at, and says all kinds of things, I don't know, that might try to, like, just is stuck in that image of this person. And then you get a choice, right? Like, and then this person could get to choose of how to react. I have a quote on my fridge on a magnet. So I don't remember the name. I really should know the name. Maybe I'll share it sometime. But it's like, we don't choose what happens to us, we choose our response, okay? So we get to choose our response, but that requires like a space for thinking, right? Not a response, a reaction that is immediate and is maybe emotional. And that takes practice to create a gap, a space to respond. But by putting yourself in situations where maybe you will run into people that you'd rather not see again, or you are in situations that you'd really rather not be reminded of, we do have that sense of agency somewhere in us, okay, to breathe, to create a space, and to choose how to respond. And sometimes not responding is a response, you know? So if this person came to my friend and blah, 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 could literally just, good to see you, take care, be well, leave, turn to someone else. I don't know. That's one approach. You can give a snarky approach. I mean, it depends on your personality and what you want to do. But my whole point is this: how much of our old selves that don't even exist in our day-to-day, but when we get reminded of them, maybe we get triggered or we get upset, that is a sign, possibly, that there's some excavating to do there. That's a sign that maybe there is, you know, some healing to do there. That's a sign that maybe there is some work to do there, some self-work. And if you're able to look at that reaction, that emotional reaction, that maybe, you know, you feel it in your chest, some people feel it in their stomach, as an invitation to just dig a little deeper. And when you're able to look at it with curiosity as opposed to judgment, and you're able to look at it with maybe even humor, right? Like, oh, that's interesting. Hello, you popped up. This happens all the time. And I'm like, well, isn't that, you know, try to bring a little humor to it if that's more your style. And definitely a lot of love and self-care, or self-kindness, self-compassion, okay? But not to judge the judging. We just get into that cycle of judging over and over and over and over again. So if you can make space for yourself and that part of you that might still be thinking of being judged for an old part of yourself, you can start to move forward by creating a space, and that could simply be as pausing, not responding, breathing, remembering where you are right now, remembering who you are right now, and allowing for that to unfold with that person or situation, and, just kind of remembering that that might have been who you are, but it doesn't need to determine how you act, who you hang out with, what you attempt, what you try today. So how would I wrap this up? When we're able to look at our old selves with love and compassion, okay, this, you could compare it like to inner child work, but we're talking about just an older self, okay? If you're able to just look at that person and where you were at and just send it a lot of love and send it a lot of light and send it a lot of kindness and compassion and understanding, and remember where you are now and where you're headed. And if you don't know where that is, just know that it's not where you were, okay? And just remember that you keep going forward. We just keep going forward. And that means you don't always have to drag it like an albatross on you. You don't have to always carry it with you. You can let it go. We've all heard that metaphor of letting the baggage go. And you can do that in an appropriate way, with guidance, with help. Seek out the help that you need. But definitely just don't let it stop you. Because the truth is, those people that might be like tripping you up or that you might be concerned about, they're likely just wrapped up in their own thoughts anyways. It's like sometimes you think, that person, this person judging. Maybe they're judging, maybe they're not. Maybe they're just too much in their own head or too worried about other people judging them, or they've got their own stuff going on. If we all kind of stayed in our lane, so to speak, and did what we were called to do in a way that's kind and helpful and like spreading light and joy and goodness in the world, and it's gonna land where it's gonna land, and it's not gonna land where it's not meant to land, but like to keep doing it. And this is where I'm gonna go here. This is where if you are connected on some level to the idea of the divine, sorry, I'm going there, and knowing that you are divinely inspired on some level, or you are here for a reason, a cosmic reason, okay? Even if you're struggling with this idea, or like, whatever, Alana, you just lost me. You are not here to impress anybody. You are not here to prove anything to anybody else. You are here to reveal that which you have been assigned cosmically to put out in the world, whether that world is one other person in a relationship or one other person in your work or a lot more people, whatever it is. So it's kind of like, if you're gonna worry about what people think of you, just switch it to like, what is God thinking of me? What does God want me to do? If you're uncomfortable with the word God, what does the universe want me to do? Okay? Focus on that. And part of the way to connect to that is like your desire. Okay? Like a really deep desire. So for my friend who desired to go to this event, but got tripped up a little bit by who might be there, focus on that desire. If it's a healthy desire, a real desire, not gonna harm anybody desire, go for it. That is your inner knower speaking to you. That is your inner drive. That is something good. And I would say potentially even holy. So let's stop looking at each other for comparison. It's really hard, I know. But let's start thinking like, the judge that really matters. And I don't mean that in a judgy, judgmental, like scary way. The one who's going to look at you at your end, at the end of it all and be like, dude, like, did you do everything that you were there to do? Okay? Focus on that. And that includes the joy in your life, and that includes the pleasure in your life, and that includes the going out and being with other people in your life, no matter who else shows up. All right. I hope this was helpful. Wishing you all a good day.